Some of you might be thinking that isn't it a little bit early to talk about conditionals and loops, and I will say no, it isn't. A lot of programming, and even in my early days of the teaching, I used to teach the conditionals and the loops a little bit later in the course. But Swift is designed in a very different language, and with the help of the playgrounds we can escalate that topic a little bit up front and can discuss about it. Now in the Swift we have a lot of operators like logicals, the conditionals, the range-based operators, nil coherence operators and all of that. And in order to understand them properly, you need to have a little bit idea of how the conditionals works and a little bit of the idea about how the loops works. And for sure, if it is needed in the future, we may revisit the topic and can discuss later a little bit more about them. But right now I think it's a good idea and completely good time to talk about the conditionals and the loops. So I won't say that you need to be completely able to understand every line out there. Just try to grab the logic that I'm trying to put here. So let's say that you're designing a web page in the Swift. Let's just say it, and you're designing a footer or a web page. So there is a content in the body part, and based on the content, if there is a content, you want to adjust the height of that particular body element. So let's just say we are putting a body here. So let the body, and the value of body, let's just say, is 50 pixels. Let's just assume that. And let's just say that we have another element out there and it says has content, and it is having a boolean value. Now boolean is something which is having the true value, either the true or the false, and that's it. It can only have true values, and if you put true or false in any variable, it becomes boolean automatically. So let's just say that you want to adjust the height of the element according to it. So let's just say, let's create an element and let's just call it as row height. There we go. And this is gonna expect a value of integer. So there we go. Not like that. Here we go. Okay, so now this, oops, not the 8. Now the row height is inferred as integer, and it is only expecting for the integer to have it. Now how does the conditional work? Now conditionals are simply if and else. They simply says if this is happening, do this, else do that. And somewhat similar to that, let's use the syntax of if and else. So we can see there's a condition which should always and always sum up to the boolean value, like true or false, and then we can have code. And luckily in our situation we don't have to actually calculate the value, because we'll talk about that in other movie. Luckily we have a boolean value that says has content, and inside that I can write a code, and I can write a code that simply says that row height is gonna be equal to, let's just say, give it a 40. There we go. And if this is the good case, then okay. And else, if there is false in the has content, then I would like to have this just like that. And there we go, a pair of curly braces, and inside that I would put the row height to be value equals to, let's just say, 10. So there we go. Okay, so now it's a good time to actually look at the I, and we can see the value is actually 40. If I click on the plus sign, it gives me the 40. Now what happens if I change this to the false? Now notice, in a few seconds, let's just wait for that. It's gonna load up, it's running, and now notice automatically the value has been changed to the 10. So it's a very simple conditional based thing that we have here. If this happens, do this. If that happens, do that. An important part is this has content. So this should be always boolean. Now later on we will learn in our logical operations and all of that, how do we actually conclude more of the things into single word, true and false, like comparing if the temperature is less than 40 or temperature is more than 40 and things like that. So that's the one part, that's the conditionals, and it's really simple. So let me put a conditionals here. There we go. Now another thing that we will use later on, but you should be aware of is, and programming is all about these two things, conditionals and loopings. So looping is a way by which you can loop any program. You can run the program n number of the times and simply without actually doing it again and again. For example, I want to print numbers from, let's just say, 0 to 10. I don't have to do the print 1, print 2, print 3 again and again. All I can do is use a loop syntax. Now we can see that as I click on it, it says for items in item. Now this is an important update, that the for loops are being converted into these kinds of things. But yes, we have a movie separately dedicated for the conditionals and the loops. We will discuss it later on. But right now, just assume that this is something like for item in items, means for individual item in a collection of items, do this. For example, if I just say for let's just say for index in a range based operator, which is gonna be, let's just say 1 ... 10. So this is another syntax, we'll discuss it. There is a separate movie for this range base. Right now I just want to print, so I'll be saying print, use this, and what I want to do, let's say in the pair of parentheses, I want to simply say that print index as well, and let's just say times 10 or times 5. Let's just say times 5 is, and I'll perform an operation here again with the backslash, pair of parentheses, and in this case I'll use the index again and I'll multiply it by 5. There we go. Okay, so what all I'm doing in the entire range from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till the 10, this index variable actually loop through for every element that is present in this items. So first of all it's gonna be 1, then it's gonna be 2, then it's gonna be 3, and just like that. So this is the repetitive task that's performed by the index, and here I'm just performing an index and I'm performing an operation of multiplying by 5 as well. So it says 10 times although, but if I just do something like this, it says 10 times 5 is 50. That's okay, but let's see the structure here. So right now it just says 10 times 5 is 50. But notice at the bottom section here, this is the actual loop that's running. Now in case you haven't, just click on this middle icon and this is what it's happening actually. So first of all, the value is 1. So 1 times 5 is 5. Then we have got 10, 15, 20. So we are just adding 5 every line out there. So this is the actual output. Now this is a finalized output, so that's why it says 50 only, but this is actually what's gonna happening. Yes, there are a couple of limitations with the playground, and this is one of them. Yes, I can explore a little bit more about the details of these things and all of that, but let's not go into the details of that. Right now our output is being shown here, and that's all what we care. Okay, so a quick summary again, and the reason why we are studying the loop and the conditionals, first of all, in order to understand how the close range operator works, how the logical operator works. These all are dependent on the conditionals. We do have a couple of examples. I do want to talk about the close range loop, half open range operators and loops and all of that, and for that I need to have a little bit of a base for talking about the loops as well. So that's the reason. I hope it was pretty simple, nothing was extraordinary here, just this couple of keywords new like if, else, for, and in. That's all what we have studied, new things out here.